Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all healthy and safe. So this is the Huawei MatePad Pro 2021. So the MatePad is Huawei's series of tablets. There have been several of these in the past, but this one is special because it runs on HarmonyOS. This is in fact the very first Huawei mobile computing device to run on HarmonyOS. So that means this is our very first look at HarmonyOS, and there's a lot to like because the UI is very nice. There's a lot of new special features, smart features that you don't get on any other Android or iPad tablets out there. And then also, if you own other Huawei devices, you just get complete symmetry across all your Huawei devices now. But I do have to rain on Huawei's marketing parade a little bit in that some people at Huawei have been claiming this is a completely new operating system built from the ground up without a single line of code from Android. That is just not true. There have been very technically savvy people who have dug into the system code of HarmonyOS and found very similar codes with Android. And also just the fact that most Android apps, including Instagram, will run perfectly fine on HarmonyOS as is without like any sort of like emulator. So that means as much as Huawei don't want to admit it, HarmonyOS is still kinda a version of Android, but it's okay because due to the US government's sanctions bullying of Huawei, Huawei has been unable to use Google mobile services. So its approach now is to build a so-called new operating system so that people will go in without thinking, oh, it's Android, so I have to be able to use Google, right? It kind of frees you from the expectations from expecting Android or Google on this device. And yes, this tablet cannot run GMS, Google Mobile Services. So that means if you install the YouTube app on the MatePad Pro, it will not run. But while not having GMS on a smartphone has been a huge hassle and a deal breaker for a lot of people, but I would argue that on a tablet, not having GMS isn't that big of a deal because you use a tablet like you use a computer anyway. And if you're using a Dell computer, do you have Google apps in that out of the box? Do you have a YouTube app on your Dell XPS 13? You don't. So not having GMS on this is actually pretty okay. I'll explain more later. Okay, before I continue on about why not having GMS on this is not that big a deal, let's go over the hardware. So you have a 12.6-inch OLED display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. So it's a very sharp and vibrant screen. Unfortunately, this is only a 60 Hz panel. But again, on a tablet, I'd argue is not that big a deal because you use a tablet for two real things. Light productivity like writing articles, typing words, and watching videos, watching movies. And for both of these, you don't need 120 or 90 Hertz refresh rate. Now, the device is really thin and light. It weighs 609 grams, which is about 1.3 pounds for Americans, and it measures just 6.7 millimeters in thickness. So inside is a Kirin 9000E, so this is a 5 nanometer SoC, the same one used in Huawei's Mate 40 Pro. There's 8 gigs of RAM and either 126 or 256 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage. You have a triple camera system here consisting of a 13 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 3D TOF sensor. Around the front, you have an 8 megapixel selfie camera, and the good news is it's located in the middle top part of the tablet. Inside the tablet is a 10,050 mAh battery, and including with the package is a 40-watt charging brick. And this tablet also supports wireless charging, 27-watt wireless charging, and it can reverse charge other devices too. Now, just like Apple's iPad, the MatePad Pro really, it's better used with companion accessories. So this includes a pencil, which Huawei calls the M Pencil. This sticks onto the tablet just like so. And there's a keyboard folio case. So unfortunately, all these are sold separately, and Huawei has not announced official pricing. But basically, if you get this whole kit, tablet, keyboard case, and M Pencil, it's gonna run you over $1,100 US. So the keyboard on this thing, as you can see, it's pretty generously spaced. There's quite a lot of space between each keys, so that makes for an easier typing experience. You're not gonna accidentally press different keys. And there's actually quite a lot of travel, around 1 millimeter. There's two propping angles for the tablet, so you can either have like this or this. And then when you fold it up, the case offers all-around protection and it still keeps the device relatively thin and light. So this 12.6-inch screen is the largest we've had in a Huawei tablet yet, which makes it great for videos. And you're gonna wanna watch videos on this thing because this tablet has 8 speakers, 4 on each side, and they're really damn loud. They're tuned by Harman Kardon. And yes, you might have noticed I am indeed running YouTube on this right now. I'm just running YouTube off the web browser. And that explains why I don't think the lack of GMS on HarmonyOS is that big of a deal, because you use this tablet like you use a Windows laptop anyway. And on Windows laptop, if you want to watch YouTube, what do? You don't have a YouTube app, right? You just go on youtube.com. And likewise, if you want to go on Google Maps on a Dell or Microsoft laptop, what do? There's no Google Maps on the app, right? You go on Google Maps via web browser and it works perfectly fine on a web browser on the MatePad Pro. Now, if you're thinking, what if I want to install third-party apps like Instagram, Facebook, Netflix, all of that? Well, Huawei's designed a very smart way for you to do that. It's called pedal search, and there's actually a search bar right here. So you just jump into pedal search. Let's say I want to install Facebook. Just type Facebook, and then it'll show you a list of ways you can install Facebook, and these are all trustworthy sources. For example, you can download Facebook from APK Kirin, which is definitely a trusted third-party APK hosting site, but you can also download from the official website if it's available. So now it'll take me directly to the Facebook site to download the app. Just tap download, and just like that, install. And then I have Facebook on the MatePad Pro, and this works for many apps. Now obviously not every app is going to be available like this, but I was able to get Netflix, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter on it with no problem, and Netflix, everything runs perfectly fine. Okay, now let's take a look at HarmonyOS. As you can see, HarmonyOS unfortunately takes a lot of inspiration from iPadOS. For example, you swipe from the corner to bring down this control center toggle, and then you swipe from the middle to bring down your notification shade. And also you have this dock down here that looks very, very similar to the iPadOS dock, but Huawei has added some of its own clever touches too. For example, I really like that you can swipe up on certain apps and it will immediately jump into the widget. So that offers you a quick look at your widget. And then if you tap pin, you can immediately pin that widget to your home screen. Likewise for Notepad, if you swipe up on the Notepad, you can see your latest notes. And I already have a widget here. You can do that with most apps. I haven't set up email yet, but if I have set up email, I can swipe up and probably get a look at my last 2 or 3 emails right here. And when you use the M Pencil and hover over a specific app in the dock, you'll see a preview of what you just opened recently. So on Instagram, I can see my last post. On Chrome, I can see my last tab. On Photo, I can see the last photo that I uploaded. Okay, so let's take a look at this M Pencil. It's a pretty clean, minimal design. It actually looks like a pen more than a pencil. There's a flat side right here, so then when you have it on the table, it won't roll off the table. And if you double tap on the pen, then it will switch to eraser. Double tap again, it will jump back to pencil. And latency, it's pretty good. Now Huawei's designed some clever features with the M Pencil too. One of these is free shape. So for example, I'm trying to draw a square. It's pretty hard to draw a perfect square or a perfect triangle when you're using freehand, right? Or a perfect circle. Huawei's designed this little clever software trick that if you just hold the pencil at the end of the stroke, it will then register and give you the perfect shape that you want. So now you see this triangle is perfect. I'm gonna draw a square. I'm gonna hold still. And then you see I have a perfect square. That's not all. This also works if you want to build a chart or a graph. Now it gets in a rectangle, draw a line, and then another line. Now I have myself a little graph, right? And then if I write on this, just watch this. If I write too long, the graph will adjust itself. So, how are you doing? You see it adjusts the size to fit whatever I'm writing. So NWO for life, man. That's pretty damn clever. But that's not all. My favorite smart feature of the Huawei M Pencil is probably this free script. So I can just write on this address bar, XDA, and it'll show up XDA. And then you see there's a unnecessary space right there, right? I can just draw a line and it'll bring XDA together. And if I want to get rid of it, I just scribble and I'll get rid of it. And I'll write another one. Go Facebook sucks. And I can highlight the text by drawing a line through it and it'll highlight the text. That I can copy and paste it easily. Or if I want to get rid of sucks, it'll do that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, HarmonyOS allows seamless connectivity across all your Huawei devices. So I have a Huawei monitor. I can wirelessly connect this MatePad Pro to that monitor. I can output to that display. And if you look at this keyboard down here, there's a little NFC icon right here, right? This allows one-touch connectivity between a Huawei smartphone. I have the Huawei Mate X2 here and the Huawei MatePad Pro. So I just have to tap my phone on it and I already feel the vibration and it's asking if I want to connect. I say yes. And now, see, now my Mate X2 screen is showing on the MatePad Pro. And you see, it's pretty damn smart. So yeah, this is the Huawei MatePad Pro in a nutshell. So what I think of the tablet overall, I think the tablet's hardware is top-notch, as we can expect from a Huawei product. Like the OLED screen is so nice and you pump out deeper blacks than on even this iPad. The much hyped mini LED screen on the iPad Pro. Like, you know, if you saw my review of this, I said this is the best screen in an iPad, but it is still not as good as an OLED panel. So if you look at Instagram here side by side, colors just pop a little bit more and look a little bit more bold and vibrant on the MatePad Pro's OLED panel than on the iPad Pro's mini LED screen. I'm also a big fan of the keyboard. This is a very comfortable typing experience, and the M Pencil. The M Pencil is really fun to play with. However, I'm disappointed with HarmonyOS in two areas. I'm disappointed that the overall aesthetics of the home screen looks just like iPad OS. I feel like if you're a Chinese company, you can't give Western media any excuses to make fun of you. So if I'm designing for HarmonyOS for the MatePad Pro, I would make the UI look as different from the iPad OS as possible. Because if you make something that looks similar, US websites are just gonna start poking fun, and why give them ammo? So I'm disappointed in that. And I'm also disappointed at some Huawei marketing people for claiming HarmonyOS is a completely new operating system built from the ground up, when that is not true. But like I said, it's kind of necessary because the US government's bullying Huawei so much. It's good for Huawei to try to pave its own way and free itself, at least, you know, in name, from something that people associate with Google. So now when you come into HarmonyOS, maybe you won't expect, oh, where's Google Maps? There should be Google Maps on this thing, right? As for pricing, Huawei has not announced official pricing, but like I said, this tablet by itself is around 700, 800 euro. And if you add the keyboard and the M Pencil, it's gonna go over 1,000 euro, which is about 1,100, 1,200 US dollars. Now, as for if this is worth it or not, it's up to you. If you're someone who just want every single app to work, like you really want to just run the YouTube app natively, then just get an iPad or get the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7. And you'll have a lot less hassles if you just get those two machines. However, if you respect Huawei's hardware craftsmanship, if you want to support Huawei, or if you just own a Huawei smartphone and you want something that connects seamlessly, the Huawei MatePad Pro, it's worth looking at. Like I said, tip-top hardware, and the software, it's more than usable as a productivity and multimedia consumption machine. That's about it for this review of the Huawei MatePad Pro 2021. If you're interested in more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel or follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews. I post a lot of photo samples and kind of behind the scenes footage to my Instagram account. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.